everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you might be. My name is Marva B. I am the CEO and founder of Black Link Magazine, and I'm so excited to be here today. We are getting ready to interview Miss Sheila Prevost. She is a major brand's lead creative director, filmmaker, musical composer. She's an international award-winning fine artist, which includes Lexus, Land Rover, Essence, Sean John, and many more. She is known all over the world: Tokyo, Jamaica, South Korea, and more. Let's get started on this interview. On the other side, Miss Sheila Prevost. First of all, thank you for tuning in, and I hope you guys enjoyed this interview as much as I know that I will enjoy. We want to talk a little bit about that because when we talk about artists, a lot of times, especially been in the entertainment world, we're thinking artists that get musically on the stage and have a show, but you're actually an artist where you're creating and painting and doing all that. So let's talk about that. Let me let you go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit more, and then we'll jump right into what you're doing.
Okay, thank you for having me here. I'm just dive right into. I'm a creative director, so I work in corporate space, advertising and branding as a creative director. And outside of that, I paint and I create music and I create films.
Yeah. So let's go all the way back and let's talk about growing up and how did you actually get into this art world, this art thing, and create such beautiful work?
Well, my family was like I was cocooned in a creative environment. My uncle was a visual artist, and my mom, she didn't professionally do anything creative, but she was very gifted. And, she instilled imagination and she created a safe space for us to feel like we can be whatever we wanted. Initially, I started out in dance. My mom put me in ballet. But I was super shy, so it wasn't working out too well for me. I just wanted to be, I knew very early that I wanted to express myself through the visual arts, but I wasn't sure what that meant.
Right, right. And probably at that age wasn't sure how big you would be like as you are today. When we talk about artists, we talk about you hear a lot of times where they say struggling artists, right? What was your process and your journey like to get your start? Because I know that you said you started, like, your uncle was a visual artist. Is that what prompted you? Like, you was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And then you got into it. And then talk about your journey from then to now and everything that you went through to get where you are today.
Okay, well, my uncle, one part I left out, he also did magic tricks. So I didn't know what an artist was at that stage. I was really like under like maybe 5 years, 4 years old. I didn't know what art was. I just knew that he did magic tricks. So when I saw him draw for the first time, I thought he was doing a magic trick. And I was like, whatever that is, I want to do that. And my brother and I, he's a visual artist as well, and we both started creating very early on. And I was really like persistent about it because, like I said, I think my parents might have had other plans for me. So they were guiding me in one direction, but I just kept going back to art. And I remember as early as around that period in my life, I was asking for art supplies, like an easel and things to create with. And I didn't really even know what that meant. I just knew I wanted to express myself in that way. And finally, I had to deal with some resistance from my parents because I don't know if they wanted me to go down that path,
Right.
But they were supportive, but they never said, don't do it. They just kept trying to redirect me. Right. Finally, middle school, I got my first mentor, which was my art teacher. And it was an after school program, an art program. And from there, that's when I started opening up, because I was to be really shy. And once I started creating, it just empowered me. Mm-hmm. And this teacher also kind of convinced my parents that, this is an opportunity for her. And so my art teacher just kind of, educated my parents around the space, because I think most people identify art with starving, struggling artists and didn't realize, how much things have changed and there's lots of opportunities. So there's this art teacher, Nancy Cooperman. She's actually, like, we call her family now because she's still part of our lives. Wow. And she had an impact on a lot of students, but she helped me kind of reframe what that looked like and to kind of create a vision board. In fact, when I was in middle school, I created my first vision board of the first like going through school, my full educational experience from that point on, in which I had art school, high school, and then art college. And I had that on my vision board, and then I had moving into my art career, and all of those things happened just seamlessly, one after the other.
I do talk about vision boards and how they can truly encourage you to meet those goals and meet those things that are on that vision board. And a lot of people say that vision boards help them. They work if you work it. And so that's
Yeah.
amazing to hear you say that, and how successful you are, and that everything on that vision board came to fruition.
And seamless. And it wasn't a struggle. It was seamless. And the thing about the vision board was I did it, and it was printed in a book. And then I put it away. I never looked at it until I, accomplished those goals. And I said, oh my God, this vision board thing it really works.
So you never looked at it? Because I was told maybe you should have it in your vision where you could see it every day.
Well, it was in my yearbook, and that was it. And I just looked at it as the art. I didn't register the vision board experience. Couldn't make the strong connection to that. I mean, I just was very clear at that point that those are things I was going to accomplish anyway.
Right.
So, it wasn't like, and once I got the green light from my parents, then that was it. I just kept going.
How does an artist get connected internationally like you have done? What was that thing that got you connected, and it was a spiral effect throughout like the world?
Well, I have to say it was a number of connections, but the international, I had just like through people, meeting people.
Yeah.
And when I started as an adult, I started dancing, actually, believe it or not. And that opened up another door of community for me. And I started meeting writers. I started meeting people who were publishing their works and stuff like that. And one thing led to another, and then I got my work published. But then I was walking one day past the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and there was this psychic sitting outside screaming at me like to come to her. And I was like, no way, like I just kept going. But my bag that I had was a art, it was gosh, what's the name of the brand? I can't think of it. It was the top brand anyway. And they painted on the bag, and it was like a brown paper bag style type of bag. It looked like a crunched up paper bag, but that was the style of the bag. Diesel had these bags that looked like, yeah. And it was very artistic, and I was carrying that, and I was walking along the Metropolitan Museum, and the psychic started calling me, right? And I was like, no, I'm not going over there, you know what I mean? So finally, she just was really adamant, and she wouldn't stop. So I went over to her, I was like, let me just see what's going on with this. Yeah. And she told me that I was going to be published in several books. And I just looked at her like, I didn't really believe it. But I think right before that, I think I had a conversation with a friend of mine who has a magazine now. And I was like, I'd like to get my work published. One thing led to another, basically. And the next thing I know, I'm out taking pictures in the city. And I used to go to like the live music events in New York. New York has just got all this energy. Yeah. And there was this guy, I learned that he was from Korea, and he was visiting, but I didn't know who he was at the time. And every time I went to an event, he showed up, and I was taking pictures of the performance. He was taking pictures of me. So I was petrified, because I was like, this guy is stalking me, But it turned out I went in for an interview at an advertising agency, and they was like, okay, we want to bring you on board. And then when they showed me where I was sitting, I sat down, and the person next to me opened their drawer, and they pulled out this big camera, and it was him. Anyway, it turns out we're like good friends now, but he turned out to be really normal. And he went back and forth to Korea, and he plugged me into the national scene.
Yeah. And I think in every career, anything that you're trying to do, networking is so, so important, and pouring into yourself is so important. And it's a lot of things are the people, the opportunities that we get are the people we know, and the relationships that we build. So
yeah, that's essential.
Yeah.
More than we give it credit for. More than we give it credit for.
Absolutely. And I think people lack that. But that's something that I've learned is to be able to network and take care of my relationships. So um
And can I add to that that it's also being present and open enough to receive those the alignment of these things when they come into our lives, because I was in resistant to him for the whole summer. He kept showing up. It was like the universe was lining us up, and I was like, no, no, no. But he just kept showing. Finally, the universe just brought us together, under different circumstances.
yeah.
And then I just end up finding out that he's one of my closest friends today.
Wow, it's amazing how I believe in God and how He works and places people in our lives, and it would be weird, for someone to take pictures of me and follow me and showing up
Mhm.
everywhere. I'm like, that's weird, but God has a plan for us all, and so He makes a way. I want to talk about you in your bio. When I was reading and doing my research, you've done work for Lexus, Land Rover, Essence, Sean John. Let's talk about those opportunities and what you did for them.
Okay, well, I don't know where to begin. I'll start with Sean John. I had me and two good friends. We started a fashion brand. Well, one of my friends started a fashion brand. He brought me in to be a creative director. We spent a year. We had like capital investment and stuff like that, and we had the potential to be super successful, but we didn't make it past the launch. So we made it up to the launch, and then we just dissolved it because we just have like different perspectives and creative differences. So a month after that, I got a phone call from the one of the top marketing executives at Sean John, and I met her through creative executive creative from another agency that I worked with.
Mhm.
So she was like very impressed with my work, and she called me when she went on board with Sean John. And she said, "Hey, there's opportunity here. We're looking for someone who can do a, creative, interactive, creative, director who will come in as a consultant
Right.
and work with us on, the rebranching of one of their lines." So I was like, wow, that sounds
Wow.
exciting. So I jumped on that opportunity, and it was awesome. Worked with them for a year and a half, and had the opportunity to work with Amigos, the band, the group, the
Yes, amigos.
pop group.
Yes.
Yeah, and they flew us down to Atlanta. We did this whole big photo shoot, and I met a lot of other people, in the entertainment space through that opportunity as well. But I think right before that, I worked with Essence. Right before I went
Mhm.
to, with my partners, I worked for Essence for a couple of years. And really that set me up because working with Essence was my first opportunity working with big, celebrities.
Right.
And when you're working with celebrities, you have to be professional. You have to maintain your professionalism. You can't jump all over them,
Yeah.
So, that really prepared me for the opportunities to follow. And with Essence, I was an art director with them, and I did the photo shoots. We each art director had certain section of the magazine we were responsible for. So I worked with editors, I worked with the writers, I worked with when we brought in a third party talent like visual artists, and just did the design and layout for the sections that I was responsible for.
Wow.
So I
Yeah.
worked with a whole host of people, different entertainment, the business sector, and that was really kind of like how I got my groundwork cemented in that space and working with in the entertainment space.
Wow. Very interesting. Very interesting. So
And
you've had a
and
journey. Go ahead.
yeah, well, and with regards to the corporate side of Lexus and Land Rover and all of those companies, I was working with a multicultural advertising agency. It was a Black-owned agency in
Mhm.
New York City, and they brought me in because I knew someone who knew the executive creative director, and she just wanted to meet me because he was talking about me. He was like, "Wow, she sounds like somebody I want to meet." So I
Yeah.
went in there, instead of just going in and to talk to her, I did this whole presentation the night before. So when I went in, I just kind of just gave her this whole presentation. She was like, "Whoa!" She called the CEO right in. The CEO sat down. He was like, "Whoa, can you start tomorrow?" Just like that.
Oh my.
And then they had me as a creative hybrid, meaning I was doing
Wow.
print. I was doing print, interactive. I was doing music. I was doing, I mean, the whole scope of 360 campaigns. And it's pretty like an extraordinary experience. So,
Gosh, you inspire me. I'm telling you, you just inspire me because we can be anything that we want to be. And what really connected me to you was that you were persistent. Our parents want the best for us, right? But at the end of the day, and ultimately, it's our choice which direction we're going to take. And
mhm.
you said something in the beginning. You said I was persistent, like I was going to do this. I love
Yeah.
my parents, but this is what I wanted to
It was
do.
I felt like it had to be my calling. Like I feel like art chose me.
Yes,
I was in agreement with that.
yes.
Mhm.
I love it. I'm going to let you go. We have just a couple more questions and we'll be done.
Okay.
But I want to talk about the art behind you. Your art, when I looked at it and I saw these beautiful pieces, like I started just imagining, right? And it talks to our culture. A lot of it speaks to our culture. Let's
Mhm.
talk about your art, particularly the one behind you. What are we saying there? What's
Okay, that is let me move over a little bit so you can see it. You see it's a harpist.
yeah.
And I love jazz music. I love all kinds of music. So a lot of my pieces are inspired by music. And I was exploring like I wanted to kind of create what jazz feels like to me. And I was listening to stuff that was a little more abstract. So I wanted to create images or portraits of people. I wanted to connect people to art, to the music,
Right.
and celebrate the actual music and the musicians. So I did like a whole series of just kind of like these kind of slightly cubist inspired pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just allowed myself to grow. As you've seen with my work, I've explored other ways to express myself visually through paint. And that's an oil painting. I work with across mediums though. So it could be an oil painting, it could be pastels, it could be acrylics, it could be just pen and ink or whatever. So I draw on everything. I created a whole collection of sneakers during the pandemic and I sold them online. And I just kind of feel like I'm a vessel for creativity, visual creativity in particular.
That's your talent. That's your talent. I love it. It's amazing. And kudos to you for everything that you've done, for all the successes that you have. If there was one piece of advice that you would give someone, especially to our young people that, have a dream of being an artist or being a creative and, just don't have maybe that support for, not that
Mhm.
their parents don't support them, but like for me, my parents is like, you're going to college, you're going to get a degree. I don't know what you're talking about, this entertainment stuff, but you know,
Mhm.
you're gonna get the degrees and do that normal thing, right? What
Yeah.
advice are you giving to someone like that?
Well, my parents were always saying, well, take business courses, right? They didn't tell me not to study art, but they said make sure you are well-rounded.
Right.
And that's what I would recommend anyone who's in a position where they don't feel like they have that full support. Just maybe you get that degree and then you go to art school, you know, you can finance that yourself. So it's always a way around. And I believe that whatever's meant for you will manifest.
Correct.
So even if it doesn't come when you want it to come, it's going to come if you're
Right.
persistent and you keep creating outside of that vacuum of whatever it is that's expected of you. I was creating, I was doing design and art direction, but I was still painting. And
Yeah.
most people would have just said, oh, I have a career. I don't need to paint. But I would go home at night and I would paint.
Yeah.
And the opportunities for me to exhibit came because I just kept creating and I kept showing up and I kept being open to the possibilities of what that was. And I would just put it out there and then the universe would just line people up because I was open, I was engaged in other activities. I didn't just go to work. When I got off, I would go out, I would take dance classes, I was always meeting people and I just let whatever was supposed to happen for me with my fine art. And even if I never exhibited or published my work, I would still be creating art. And last year I got my first award. I got a award of excellence for my art, international global award. So
Yeah, I saw that. I was going to mention that. I'm sorry. Congratulations on that.
yes,
That's huge.
conception art.
That's
Thank you.
huge. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So go ahead and tell the people where they can find you, where they can find your work on all social media sites. How can someone connect with you?
Well, I would say, first of all, just go to bodega5.com. And the 5 is spelled out. So, I mean,
Can you spell it?
BODEGAFIV as in Victor, E.com. Just go there and connect to me, or they can find me on LinkedIn initially, because those are the best ways to connect to me instantly, and just hit me up and say, hey, how do we connect further? I have a lot of websites and stuff up, so I'm trying to consolidate things and create a funnel so that people can find one and then connect everything else. I work in the metaverse as well. Coming up,
That's huge too.
I will be curating my first metaverse exhibition at the end of this year, 2022. So I'm working with an organization, Image Nation, which is a film festival in New York. They have a partnership with the Apollo, and we're doing a special celebration. The project is going to be celebrating Prince, the
Yo,
iconic Prince.
yes.
So it's going to include a metaverse. It's going to include a live experience at the Apollo and in other venues, and so just
Wow. Congratulations. Like that is amazing. And you're getting to do what you love to do. And that's amazing. And I think that we can all do the things that we love to do if we stay consistent and we just hang in there and just keep going and not give up. So Ms. Prevost, thank you so much for being here. I do not take it for granted. I'm very humbled to have you here. We wish you continued success in your life. We support you over here. And so you guys go out and find her on that site. Go to the website. Let's follow her where we can, and let's just support one another. There's room for us all, and we just need to support one another.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
and one last thing, if I may.
Yes.
I have a book that's just been released. It's called Storybook. It's been released in the Netherlands. And if you go to globalstorybook.com online, you'll be able to find out more information. Check that out.
When was it released?
A week ago.
Just a week ago.
Yeah, just a week ago was released, and it's available worldwide. And it consists of 30 artists from around the world, a diverse body of visual artists, and it's interesting. It's like really, really cool.
Interesting.
It's also a book of inspiration too. So there's a section for people to engage and add their whatever affirmations or whatever they find that helps them. So for artists who are, students and professionals and people who just love art, I think I would highly recommend to check it out.
You guys, let's go out and get the book. It's at globalstorybook.com. Go out there, check it out, buy the book, make the purchase, and see what's in there for you. There's got to be a message in there for you. Again, thank you for being here, you guys. We're going to go for now, but remember, respect yourself, respect each other. God bless.